Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show from New Orleans, from the Super Bowl. I'm here with Brett Stover. And joining us now, you're an interesting guy, Barry. Barry Kern is here. And Barry is the creator of Mardi Gras World, right?
Yeah, well, it's a family business. Actually, my grandfather
Really?
and my dad
Invented Mardi Gras World.
Well, my father, yeah. My grandfather was actually an artist who built a float on the back of a garbage wagon
Okay.
in 1932.
Now, is that how it started, this whole thing?
Well, I mean, there was some parades that were happening here, but back then there might have been maybe several thousand people that participated in Mardi Gras in New Orleans. But,
Yeah.
you know, now it's gotten a lot bigger.
Now, I was going to say, now, how did that happen? So your grandfather's was, or your father?
My grandfather built that first float. My grandfather was an interesting guy. He figured since the world was 75% water and
Right.
25% land,
Right.
that he would fish and drink 75% of the time, and he'd work the other 25%.
Sounds like a funny guy.
Well, you know what? I'm thinking he might have had it right.
Yeah, it sounds like you had it real right. The stuff gets too complicated. You know, you got to. That's a good game plan. You need a game plan in life. You know.
He had a great game plan.
Now, what did he do? Describe what he did. He put something on a garbage can?
On the back of a garbage wagon, he built a float.
A garbage wagon.
Yeah, on the back of an old garbage
Okay.
wagon in 1932. My dad was a little boy, 5 years old.
Yeah.
Can remember helping his dad out, and they decorated that float, and they marched that float from the Algiers ferry right across the river from here.
Right across the Mississippi.
Right, and right to Gretna, which is a little town not too far away. And anyway, that was kind of the beginning of it. And my dad came out of World War II, 1947, and he was asked. My dad was an artist.
Yeah.
And is an artist, but
So your father did not make my head, I assume. Being an artist, he wouldn't put his name
well,
on
actually,
something like
that's a caricature.
No,
That
okay, it's a
head.
caricature.
Okay, it's a
You're right. No, I
caricature.
understand exactly.
It's supposed to give the feeling.
It accentuates my good part. Well, thank you, though. No, I appreciate. But in other words, that's like when a woman looks at me, I feel that's what they see.
I think it looks pretty good.
No, I'm honored. This is history. It's history to have a float.
Oh no, and you can take that with you. We'll send that to your house.
You know, I'm going to give you an address in Hoboken, New Jersey. You just FedEx it. Okay. My doorman will get it. My doorman Frank, he's going to. So explain what. So your father now comes back from World War II.
Right.
And does what? He makes this into a business?
Yeah, what happened was my grandmother needed an operation, and there was a guy, there was a doctor that gave her the operation, and in trade, my dad painted the history of medicine on the walls of this guy's clinic.
Wait, so your mother was given an operation?
Yeah,
and to pay for the operation?
My father's mother, my grandmother.
Okay.
And so in order to pay for it, my father did a mural of the history of medicine on the walls of this guy's clinic.
You're kidding me. Wow.
And so
he probably didn't want anybody else in your family that need an operation. He'd be tired. Didn't he hear about the Obamacare?
I don't think that didn't exist back then.
Obamacare didn't exist back then. He could have just went there and just got it done for free.
Exactly.
So what you're talking about, fascinating people that you come from.
So
that's an interesting guy.
Well, and yeah. So what ends up happening is this guy was a captain of one of these carnival crews. We call them crews, these clubs.
Right.
And he said, "Hey, how'd you like to build a parade?" And so my dad said, "Sure, I can."
Now,
build
what
a
year are we
parade."
talking about?
This is 1947.
Okay.
And so my dad was 19 years old, and he builds this parade. And the thing is, he starts building this parade, and he's doing such a good job on it. And he's doing it where he lives across the river, which is kind of like the other side of the tracks.
Right.
They were poor.
Right. Okay.
And but
I would assume if he's paying for operations by painting stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I assume you guys weren't the king of New Orleans. Okay.
So anyway, but he did a good job. But he starts building these floats, and he started bringing animation and doing things on the floats. And all of a sudden, everybody in New Orleans is talking about this guy who's building floats for the poor people on the West Bank.
Right. It's a story.
And they're nicer floats than the guys on St. Charles Avenue, which is the big avenue. Rex, which is Latin for king, is our oldest parade in Mardi Gras.
Right.
It's the reason why in New Orleans we think purple, green, and gold looks good together.
Yeah, I know. That's well. Look, you should have Mike Boschetti's color scheme. Look at that over there. Look at that kid. There's a float for you right there.
We should do a float of him.
No, that's what I want. I want because I want to take attention away from mine. So go ahead. So now, so he starts getting attention with this because it's a unique thing.
Yeah,
right?
and so he gets the attention. This guy who's a captain of Rex invites him to do the Rex parade, which is one of the big parades. And all of a sudden, this is 1949, 1950, he's getting paid $500 a week.
Wow.
Plus all of his expenses. So all of a sudden he goes from being one of the poorest guys in New Orleans to making as much money as almost anybody.
No, I know. I'm looking around here in the late 40s. I'm sure you could buy a house for about $2,000.
Yeah, exactly.
A big house.
Exactly.
So he's making $500 a week.
Yeah, so he was doing, all of a sudden, life was beautiful.
That's fantastic. So now that's how you grew up, a rich kid.
Basically, yeah.
Now, how did you turn this into Broads?
Well, what happened is that with the Mardi Gras business, and Mardi Gras and the difference between Mardi Gras and there's a lot of cities that have carnivals and have Mardi Gras, but the reason why New Orleans is so successful is the fact that Mardi Gras in New Orleans kind of democratized. And so everybody has a piece of Mardi Gras in New Orleans. There's about 40 to 50 parades down here.
Every store, everybody makes money.
And it's incredible. It's like, and we talk about the economic impact of a Super Bowl in a city, which is, incredible.
Sure.
The economic impact of Carnival in New Orleans is like having a couple of Super Bowls every year. And
so
we get it every year.
Now you're getting both in 1 year. You're like doubled down and got a blackjack this year.
This is huge.
The bowl. And so what do you think the city's going to pull in this week?
You know what? It's going to be incredible. I tell you. And it's.
What about the hookers?
Well, the
hookers must be like whores must have like beautiful homes from this week. Just think of the business a whore must do just from Mardi Gras and Super Bowl. Because I know when the Super Bowl weekend in Vegas, hookers fly from all over the world to go to Las Vegas. Because a couple of hookers I hired for myself, they told me this. This one hooker, she was like a 9.5, and she was from St. Louis, and she said, "Yeah, we all fly in." So that must happen here too, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure. This is a big week. Big week for everybody. Restaurants, everybody. But the great
you're
thing
you're saying not just the whores. It's a big week.
I think everybody's having a big week. But I think that the incredible thing is all of a sudden now Mardi Gras is Fat Tuesday, right?
Fat Tuesday is now. Is Fat Tuesday tomorrow?
No. Fat Tuesday is 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Now, people don't realize that has a religious meaning. Fat Tuesday is basically the day before Lent starts.
Right.
The day before
Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday. Exactly. So Lent, you have to give up stuff, sacrifice stuff. And so this is the last day to really go nuts, to gorge yourself, Fat Tuesday.
This is it. This is the blowout.
And Mardi Gras is the week leading up to Fat Tuesday.
Right. And actually, we start down here in New Orleans. We start on King's Day, January 6th, the Epiphany.
Oh, my God.
Is when we start partying.
Wow.
So the parties start, and they just don't stop.
Yeah, it's mania. It's mania. I did stand-up once at a bachelor party, and my buddy told me to make fun of this kid who was there, and this big Italian kid, Frankie. And I said, why should I make fun of him? He goes, he was in Mardi Gras, and he made out with a chick who turned out to be a dude.
Oh, that happens a lot down here.
And I said, I don't want to make fun of him for that. I think he'll get mad at me. And then I went up and I was bombing and I made fun of Frankie for that. And he threw a Heineken at me. It's a long story. But so you got everything down here. Like, I mean, people. I've been here for a couple of Mardi Gras. I used to do a show called Mad TV, and we were on Fox. And we came down here, the 2 years I was on the show, both Mardi Gras, we came down here and shot episodes. And I never saw anything like it, like partying, like just mass hysteria in the streets. And your family figured out a way to make a bunch of money off of this.
Yeah, it's been, the great thing is the fact that, think about it, everybody in the world, every city in the United States would love to host Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, they bid on it. They spent a lot of money to get it, right? But the fact that they're going to allow New Orleans, in the middle of the biggest cultural celebration in the country, Mardi Gras, to put Super Bowl right in the middle tells you what they think of New Orleans in terms of putting on a party.
Well,
that's
exactly.
our job. That's what we do.
I know.
It's all about hospitality.
Well, New York has it next year, and New York is not going to be as hospitable. New York's snobby. You know what I mean? New York's
going to be like, yeah, you're here, right?
Yeah. They're not going to care. That's where I live. Quite frankly, I'm loathing the fact that we have to deal with the Super Bowl next year. It's just going to be traffic, but you're fine with it.
Well, we've been looking forward to this for the last 2 years. I mean, everybody, the whole city, everybody in the hospitality industry. We have more restaurants in New Orleans now since Katrina. We have more clubs, entertainment venues, more places to listen to music.
Now, I know. Now, how many people do you think have died in ambulances because of your floats? Trying to get to a hospital.
Well, I know that we really aggravate a lot of people.
Aggravate a lot of people. I'm at a hotel. I won't say where it is, but not far from here, like within a mile, and it took like 3 hours yesterday to get from here to there.
Well, you got to know all the back roads.
Well, can you show me that for crying?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to give you. I'll give you your guys the back roads for sure.